Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to. Uh, yeah, so we basically covered a lot on the situation in Kashmir. Shall we move over to the community focus in UK? I think we need to talk
Yeah,
about.
why not?
We've got that and then building for the future. So the community in the UK, we've got quite a lot of problems with the community which are not being tackled by the sorry to say, but the masajid and the leaders and the councils or the MPs, or they're not really offering any solutions to the problems that we face. So I always think, what do? We need to obviously engage with our masjids and our ulama and our schools, and participate in um, trying to keep the the Muslims youth, keep them away from drugs and away from the vices we see in the community. So, what's your advice to the community in the UK?
That's not an easy one, is it?
No, no.
Okay. I mean, maybe better than me. I haven't managed it. So I was like, got late on. So anyway, Bismillah. So I think that we have to start off with. There's one thing I think in this situation we don't actually recognize the positives, and I really want to start with that because I sometimes think that, oh, negative, negative, negative. If I look back to my own parents and grandparents' generation, who came here in the late 50s, early 60s, um, they, and very meager, very less amounts of money, built an infrastructure of masajid and centers, mashallah, Allah give them the ajr for it, that they have passed down to us. So there are no sorry to masajid in this country, and the question is, what do we do after we've got that? And one of the things I'm very much aware of is that each of in the community, everybody has a skill, and sometimes we don't recognize that every citizen, if it comes to Pakistani, the Muslim community, which is probably what we all have a skill that we can contribute. So Radha Jabadio in the radio station is doing this program and projected some ideas. It may be a small thing, but it's still something. We all have skills we can give. I'm a secondary school teacher. I have skills I can give. I can affect the community, and that focus has to be giving back. But the thing is we increasingly we can't have, if we don't have a vision for our children, we don't have a vision for our children, then obviously somebody else's vision is going to be our vision. And it's not that's not and it's so what should our vision be? It's being a strong community. It's being strong in our families. It's being strong with our neighbors. It's being strong with the ideas of right and wrong. And many times that does come out. So when social unrest, Muslims are active in the community. I mean, if we look at let's taking the issue of things like during COVID, for example, and Muslims, doctors, Muslim nurses, Muslim professionals played a key role. In the UK, the first people to actually die of COVID in the medical profession were Muslim.
Yes.
And so I think sometimes we just get, oh, this problem, that problem. Yes, but we are doing things. We're moving forward. We're a part of the society.
Yeah.
So what do we do? What should we do? We all need to be active. We all need to be engaged. We all need to be confident of who we are. Confident the way we are, where we are here. We need to have also, well, because we're from Pakistan, we have to have a relationship. So, do we, for example, have a relationship with our relatives and friends in Pakistan? And
Yeah.
does that relationship bear any fruit? Fruit? What is the fruit of that relationship? if we have some zakat and some sadaqah, do we give a portion of that in Pakistan for that community from where we have come?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying ignore. I mean, there are give us some zakat here and some zakat there, but build that relationship, and that relationship builds helps build that community, builds that connection. And our schools, what do we want for our children? And in terms of our children, there's this idea that if our children are academically very good, that we need to be academically excellent in the first row. But too often, and it may sound controversial to some of your listeners, that we seem to have think, well, if my child is Islamic, I want to make him Hafiz Quran. There's nothing wrong with having Hafiz Quran, but then what does the Hafiz Quran do in the community? How are they helping with mentorship with the younger people? How are we helping with our families breaking up? How are we providing mental health support in the masajid? How are we helping our young people think critically that they can actually go out in society and represent ambassadors for Islam? How do we the faith crisis where people are leaving the deen of Islam? Well, it's amazing to actually think that people are leaving Islam, but they are, because they have faith doubts. And it seems that in our masajid we have many leaders, and some, I'm not saying that that's everybody, that's not true, but there is this over preoccupation with building a bigger masajid. Of course, building masajid is very important, but there are other work that also needs to be done. There's youth mentorship needs to be done. There needs to be youth clubs in the masajid. There needs to be women's centers in the masjid, where women who are vulnerable then come and gain the support that they need in the community, and bring our families together, and being the kind of you. Then the issue of explain to others about Islam as well. I mean, there's many things. I mean, go on for another hour. But the thing is, we are not we need projected identity, because our parents and grandparents have built those masajids. We've got a base.
Alhamdulillah.
We've got a wonderful base. We now need to be positive and build up that base, to build a kind of community where people think, you know what, these are the kinds of people I want to be.
Yeah, that's absolutely should be our goal, and I don't see my experience of being engaged in Bradford community and Muslim community, working with the other communities as well. We've worked hard in Bradford to change the situation around. I mean, there's so much that we can do, and there is people that want to do these things. The only problem is what we think is some people obviously are, they're not passing the what do they call it? Passing on to the next generation, and to.
I would say, I have to say that if you look at people who make change, there are usually few.
Yes.
It's only few people make change. Most people just go with the flow.
Yeah.
The ones who are active, who who protest, who go out and become the teachers, the doctors. There are few.
There's few.
Who take part and will give their time for to young people, who build youth clubs and do youth work. There are few.
That is few.
That's just the reality of the game.
Yeah.
The thing is, so the question is like, and those people are there in the community. I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, if you look at the protests to do with Palestine, the issue, the Gaza protests, and the people that have come out from our community and protest about these. I mean, these things go back to the late 60s, where our grandparents did that in 67 when the West Bank was taken over. That's from that time. And in fact, that is in 1967 when the West Bank was taken over, and that's our parents and grandparents protested then. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
And they were active. And even to this day, our youth and people not Muslims have been active in this, and this is really positive. It just shows that there is that common bond, and people have done work. But if we're saying that we're expecting everybody to be active, I think that's unrealistic. But on the other hand, we have something to give. So I mean, in my capacity, I have something to learn. So for example, I mean, Arabic isn't my first language. I can actually, but the language of Islam is the Arabic language. So I make a point to increase my knowledge of that language and then build a deeper connection to the text that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided for us. But that's just a part of it. And then I engaging with others. I mean, we all have neighbors and we have obligations towards our neighbors and how we engage with them and building that sort of being an ambassador, being active. And we just need to look for those excuses because there are so many problems. I mean, in Bradford, and the youth and unemployment is an issue. Opportunities are an issue, but also it's our lack of actually going out and actually projecting our being to others as well. The faith crisis exists, but also we as a community, how are we projecting ourselves and saying, well, we are here to help others? And that issue of what we call it,
Yes.
seems to be a little lacking. That seems to be a little lacking. What should happen? So if we contrast ourselves with the Sahaba, may Allah increase with them, they put service
Yes.
as a basic.
Yes.
I mean, that wasn't optional.
Yes.
So, and our parents building those masajid were not easy.
No. Alhamdulillah.
These days, for us to build a house is hard. Our
Mhm.
parents built masajid centers, not one, many.
Alhamdulillah. I
And,
mean,
and we have to build on that and say, well, look, how can we use these centers to help our young people, our ladies, our elderly?
Alhamdulillah, the work is, like he says, is not all dark and gloom. There's a lot of work going on. There's a lot of people wanting direction, and there is few people that are involved in this. And some of the imams are giving lectures in English, and trying to change the masjid into a community hub where they can get the support they want. They come inside the mosque for solutions, so that's what that is what we have, and Islam and the Sahaba, the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba showed us how to live our lives and how to go forward, and we can learn so much from their lives, inshallah. And like he says, we've got our forefathers who have done the work. They built the mosques, they built the community centers, and we have to knock on every door to try to open it. And those community leaders or that are listening, and the whatever they are, community
I think I can
member.
add something in here. I think what it is that our children are educated here, they here have a strong relationship with participating in society. But it's not just, are we in danger of just becoming a Pakistani middle class?
I think
And that's it. What I mean by that is that, I mean, have we just created a middle class set of people who have got nice cars, nice houses, and haven't given back anything back, and see that as the only objective in life? And I think if that's happened, although that's not a bad thing, there has to be something more. And that activism and that helping of others seems to be a little lacking, where we in communities looking after others seems. I mean, our masajid are a wonderful place to make, but we need to take things further, so that we can actually give the local community, those people, Muslim and non-Muslim, that impression, that positive impact of us being here. Because ultimately, where Muslims go, where we are, we should be a beacon of hope.
Inshallah.
And where there are any gaps with that, we need to close those gaps.
Absolutely, there's so many things that we can do, and some of these what you mentioned, is very key to make sure that we don't just become materialistic and forget our deen, which gives us a purpose in life. It gives us a purpose in life to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba. That's our identity, which is that we are Muslims first and above any nationalities or whatever we are one ummah, wherever we are, and wherever we are, we can only we must support one another. This is the responsibility of being a Muslim. Not only that, we've got people in the community who are non-Muslims who are struggling. Even them, we should be able to help them. We see so many. I was just listening to a report a couple of days ago, where the homelessness was so bad that it's being reported as that homelessness has become so widespread, and the numbers of people on the street is so much. So we'll take a short break, and Assalamu alaikum, we're back online. By Rizwan, what should we be planning for the future? What should we do for 2025 as a community and as individuals in that community? Hello?
Sorry, I can't hear your question.
I said, for what's the preparations for 2025, building for the future? I mean, we've covered what the situation is, current situation, and some of the issues that we need to do. What we've covered is present, and for building for the future, what should be our plans as youth or community or elders in the community? What should be our...
I think that makes perfect sense. I understand the question. I think first of all, there's three things. We need to have a very strong relationship with others and not be isolated, because that's a real issue at the moment. A lot of people, even in places like Bradford, they feel isolated from others. So that reaching out to others is really important, because as strange that we're in such an internet age where we're connected, but we have less communication, often less meaningful communication. So that's one thing, and being connected. We have the building for the future means that we have a connection with our communities. And where that people are feeling isolated or lonely, that is something which is not acceptable to us.
Yes.
As a community.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if they're not Muslim.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if they're not Muslim. Absolutely doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And this is a very big problem that we have, is that we seem to isolate people when they disagree with us. And it's amazing. It's amazing that we have this real ability to recite ayahs of the Quran, and then we have this problem with other people, and we don't resolve those issues. So we have to build connections, even when it's difficult.
Yes.
When we talk about building connections, it's easy to build a connection when you like someone.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really easy.
Yes, and the issue is that, like he says, you show off the other person when he says no, I disagree with that. So what you do is you end up disengaging in that society then, because obviously you're not able to win over people to your ideas, and the strength of ideas is the strong ideas, should be, you should look for the best evidences, and to discuss in a way that you don't, even if it's disagreement, you don't end up breaking the relationship. I think
Yeah,
that's
I think this is a very basic. I mean, basic are things that our parents would have emphasized on. We are slowly losing that sort of sense of community. So there's one thing, engaging with others, and there's another thing. When we leave the masjid, we stop learning about Islam. We stop
absolutely.
learning about learning. We don't learning about anything.
Yeah.
And so when we recited Al Quran from Fatiha to An-Nas, after that, and we get out in the community and we do our business and this, we don't link that with our values. So then that connection steadily breaks down with our deen. And even as we grow older, our connection to our relatives breaks down because our connection to our deen has broken down. Then when problems occur, our own values of fairness and justice, which Islam gives us, we don't use them because we don't have any connection with them. We know Allah is there, but yeah, okay. But then solving our problems, resolving issues, building anything for the sake of a community and for others, that desire is not there because that connection to our faith and our faith's values isn't there. Because we left that, we did our Quran Khatam, then we've carried on with our lives. So when we go for jobs, we're in the workplace, we're interacting with others, it doesn't matter. And the symptom of this is that how often we ourselves, we would prefer to have a business with someone not from our community than from our community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this actually illustrates it more than anything else. Whereas our Nabi and our Sahaba are the most trustworthy, and you know what? I'd rather there's a mismatch there. So I mean, we can say these very nice things on these shows, and we don't know this and the other, but then that mismatch is still the reality. Is when we in our transactions we're not like that. So the thing is, building community. What do you need to build? So we need to build our community centers. We need to build our community outreach. We need to build our connection to non-Muslims. We need to have for those who are unable to fulfill needs, we need to help them to be fulfilled. We think to Abu Bakr Siddiq when we think about we were having elections in this last year, and in this country we had elections in America and in India and Pakistan. This way of actually solving problems. And when we look at the contrast that with how Abu Bakr Siddiq, when he attained power, may Allah be pleased with him, and he said, "The weak amongst you are strong in my eyes, and the strong are weak in my eyes." So, but this mindset is completely different. And we see a president in America who, for years, said his son had major legal trouble, had this court case against him for years. I will never pardon my son. I will never pardon my son. What did he do a few weeks ago? He pardoned his son. He gave it back to his record clean. And then this is amazing. And we see that we have this resonance. So, for example, what is happening with the Muslims? So we have issues in the Middle East. We have issues in our community. Our reaching out to other Muslims, our explaining to our Muslims about Islam, explain to ourselves and gain the knowledge. Because it may be we don't know about something. I don't know about everything.
No.
I need to go out and learn.
Absolutely.
And I need to be adult enough to realize this knowledge I don't know. I need to go out and learn.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong
with
with
that. If I can't recite, starting off with, if I can't recite properly, I'm staying with myself. I said, look, I'm going to go out and recite. If I can't, I've been reading this translation of the Quran for so many years. I think maybe I should take the extra step, learn a few words of Arabic, and then not every word in my salah have a deeper connection. There are only 100 words. There are 99 names of Allah. There are 99 names of Allah. Why don't I learn all of those and then think about those when I'm in my worship? I mean, these are very simple things you can do and
Yeah.
build connection to others. So
Yeah.
interrogate. Even the issue of muhasabah, and this is on a very, very individualistic level, account ourselves for what we look at on the internet.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, there's.
That is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
I would like to say I only ever watch things that are really, really focused. Well, yeah, look at your internet history. What are you looking at? What time did you spend on that? And that's advice on myself as well. And how am I, and if I'm having a go at my my life partner, my wife, or my children, am I even spending the time to talk to them first
Mm-hmm.
and understand what their problems are?
We must.
Or I'm only worse. Oh, I need to the card because Flana, he's got one plot in Islamabad, one house made. I haven't got my third house in Oak Lane yet. It's like, because if we don't have some higher purpose,
Yeah.
then we're gonna have another purpose, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm not saying earning for your family, and look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those. We care about our wives, our children, want to have good things. There is reward in that as well. There is reward in that.
There is reward in that.
Having a reliable car so they can go and they can go we can go places. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is making that the be all and the end all of everything,
Yeah.
and not the relationships and everything.
Yeah. I think we basically covered a lot of stuff today. I mean, it's been an excellent show. I really enjoyed having you on. And I think we'll just do a summary of what we've covered. A final message is regarding obviously what we've seen through 2024 in Kashmir and in both sides of the line, and maybe give a final message on that, and also just like the key message that to build for the future and for the community in UK. So I'll just ask you to just basically summarize the messages.
You know what? It's really difficult because I've known you for like 30. Oh my God, more than 30 years.
More than 30 years.
And we still talk about the same question, and it's still not been resolved.
Yeah.
That hurts.
It kills us.
We've got married, our children are grown up, and this issue is still not resolved, and it really, really hurts because we built a community in this country, and we've tried our best to do something about it, and it hasn't worked yet. And there's no getting away from that fact. And another year we're looking at this, and it seems like we're going to repeat this next year as well. We're doing the show for language of the idea. And so the question is that we need to engage with each other. So the summary of it was we had the issue of the oppression and the lack of rights given to ordinary citizens, and their inability of them to be listened to by the people in authority. And that's the reality of Kashmir today. That's the reality of what they're going through, and there doesn't see any, and whether no amount of advertisements on television channels and the Godi media saying that how wonderful things are, or the Pakistani state actually saying to and actually not being incompetent on a local level, it just doesn't seem to get any better. That's the reality on the ground. So the question is that we need to be aware of it and continue saying, look, this isn't acceptable, and particularly the leaders need to actually change the situation and give people the rights that they deserve and represent them in a way that they deserve. Because what's going on now isn't going to get any better. Isn't getting better. Many Muslims we've given votes to certain political parties in this country for decades, and Kashmir problem's still there, and unfortunately I don't see it changing. And that's not a very nice summary.
No,
But it's
I-
true.
it's true.
I really I didn't want to say that, but I
It's
can't pretend it's not true.
like you said, it's the reality that we face, and you know, if we want to go forward, we need to look at some other way. But so coming on to, obviously, I think we were limited for time, and we've given, you know, we've had a good banter about all these things. The community in the UK and building for the future, you know, this is key to us. You know, basically success. If the players, the key players in the community don't, and we as you know, even the key leaders, it's like individually or together with the youth, we don't make we don't get involved and change things. You know, the situation is not going to get better. And it is. I mean, there's a lot of work that's gone into the you know, into our communities and the places up and down the country. So we can't reject that. There's positives as well as positives. There's a lot of positives to, you know, mention. So we're gonna wrap up there. Is there anything else you want to add?
I think whereas there's with the Kashmir issue, there's a limited amount we can do, but with the UK community, there's a lot we can do.
Inshallah.
And that lot is the simple things we can heal, we can connect to others, be our families, be our relatives, our friends. We can learn a skill or be active in our community in any way we can. We're all professional, we have from professionals some skill. And we can help our community grow by connecting with them, by resolving problems, by finding problems to solve, and being ambassadors. But that requires us to give some time and some effort and work with others. And that's really the most important thing, because in our community, we live here. We're in part of the society. We've been part of society since the 1950s, and we need to show that we are a positive force, and we are a force that is of adding. We are adding. We need to be seen to be adding as well. And that will only happen by us engaging and by us actually being of service to others. So this is your khidmat is very, very important for that.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Rizwan. Thank you very much for coming on, giving us the time. So we'll end it there. And I hope to speak to you soon, inshallah, and bring you on another topical discussion on community program. We discussed today
about inshallah my internet connection will be better as well.
Inshallah. So what we'll do is we'll wrap it up there, and you know, there's a lot that you've heard. Our listeners are out there, and if you want to participate with us, and we welcome your participation and your engagement. So with that, I think we'll just give you Assalamu alaikum from me, and it's Assalamu alaikum from Rizwan Bhai, and we'll meet inshallah very soon.
Yeah. Inshallah we'll meet soon. Inshallah.
Okay. Wa alaikum assalam.